here we are. I am known as Task Force, and I'm here to interview Margrett about her story and why she's here in Washington, D.C., and what she does here kind of on a weekly basis, or how often?
Every couple weeks or months. Okay. It just depends.
So I met Margrett a couple weeks ago. She shared her story about her child that was burned in a horrible accident. And so Margrett comes to Washington, D.C. to try and tell that story and to get some basic safety protocols that will stop some of this, from my understanding.
Yep.
So I just want to find out more details about that. So first of all, from what I understand, you had twins, correct? Yep. So twin girls, right, that you raised. And at around what age did this happen?
16.
Okay.
And they're 20 now. I mean, they're grown adults. So,
right.
Yeah.
They were 16-year-olds. And tell me, what happened, or do you want to talk about the events that happened?
It's a hard one just because they're past this. They've moved on to their next stages. They're young adults. But I keep meeting the new people that just keeps happening to. So for me, it's fresh. Okay. But for them, it's an old memory. So I don't want to take them to that journey. Yeah. But I want to remind people that there's 4,000 people just like me every year. Okay. There's 4,000 moms, because everybody's got a mom. Right. 4,000 kids of all ages every year are getting burned by flammable liquids because we don't have the safety guard on the container.
Okay, so explain to me, for somebody that's a novice about flammable liquids and what you're talking about as far as how these children and other people are being burned. Explain to me the process, or what you're asking Congress to do.
Sure. There used to be a safety mechanism on all flammable liquids. Anything you heated with, cooked with, or used for lighting. Naturally, everybody understands that had those in their common household everyday life. Understood. Vapors are the risk. Okay. Vapors will explode. They get near an ignition source, any ignition source. That could be heat, light, electricity, hot temperature. Any of those ignition sources will ignite the fumes. They will always travel back to where the density and the richness is high and the concentration. Okay. So that will be back inside of a container. Right. That flashback is what we commonly would call that. Yeah. An internal container explosion will always happen. Okay. Now, if you put a flame arrestor on the opening, you prevent it.
Describe what you mean by flame arrestor for somebody who doesn't.
Yep. I have one around my neck. Okay. It looks like a little miniature K-cup. It's just a little screening. Okay. It could be made out of
small.
Yep. It could be made out of anything. This could be made out of plastic, metal. It can go on glass products. It can go on metal products. It can go on plastic products. There's no risk as long as you put a flame arrestor there. Okay. Now, I want to explain something because these are so effective. Okay. I want people to understand there's zero risk if you have this on there. Okay. Zero. 0.0. Now, if we look at how many
good statistics.
Statistics, right? So there's been around for 200 years. Okay. I'm on government code committees. Okay. Our definition is there's never once been a documented case of one of these injuries when a functioning flame arrestor is present. Okay. That's just the working definition we all have. Okay. Because just to be clear, a flame arrestor will stop the flame. If you arrest, you're a detective. Yes. If you want to stop a crime, you arrest. Right.
So it's basically taking the flame into custody, would be in my language, right?
Correct. Right. So you're going to trap the flame. They used to call them a flame trap. That's what they called them 200 years ago in patents. If you quench it, it's a quenching device. Okay. But what it does is it's a screen. The vapor can hit it, and it will quench here. It will stop here. Okay. If it can't pass through it, then you don't have an explosion. Right. If it can get through it, it gets inside the bottle will explode, it turns it into an IED or a bomb, right, and that will shoot flaming liquid out. So ATF has the term flame jetting. Okay. Internal container explosions is what they use in litigation. Yeah. There's just a whole bunch of working ways to explain it, but everybody in industry, any competent engineer, and this isn't my wording, this comes from the PhDs that do this sort of stuff for a living, they are the experts. They say any competent engineer would require a flame arrestor. Okay. Because it 100% effectively removes the problem. Okay. A flame mitigation device, they're not happy with. Okay. The reason is to mitigate the problem. You don't want to do a crime mitigation. Right. Right? You want to arrest them. You want to stop the crime. Absolutely. So you don't want to, you want to make sure that you don't allow that explosion to happen. Right. So, I'm a mom of kids, and
Yeah.
I would say to any parent, you know what, barrier methods work.
Right.
This is a barrier method. You put the barrier in place, the liquid can pass through it, it pours out, no problem. It goes right through. It's like a little screening.
Yeah.
This little bit of mesh, 100% effective.
Right.
Never once has failed.
Okay.
Never once.
Okay.
No documented case of it ever failing.
Okay.
I would say that's 100%, because
Yeah.
if they're used in every type of time handling, transporting, mixing, any type of flammable liquid, solvents, anything, you must have a flame arrestor.
Okay.
OSHA requires it.
Okay.
DOD requires it because
Wow.
they know in military that you must have a flame arrestor on
Yeah.
all of these things to prevent IEDs.
Right.
They don't want refueling accidents. They don't want military employees, which we call
Right.
veterans, or active duty. We don't want any of those guys getting injured.
Right.
Yet we're allowing them to go to war, and then they come back, in the backyard barbecue is where these injuries are occurring.
Okay.
They come back and they're doing maintenance, routine maintenance on F-15s, I think it was, and end up in a burn unit.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
if we can prevent this 100% of the time, the cost is a few pennies.
Okay.
The manufacturers even agree that it works. They agree that it's effective. They agree that there's no documented cases.
Right.
They acknowledge that they have them in place all over. You know, they're commercially available. They're like this one around my neck. I just bought it online. This actually goes in a pipe.
Okay.
So they say even when you've got tobacco in a pipe,
Yeah.
you need to have a flame arrestor.
Right.
If we know Bacardi puts it on bottles of rum,
Right.
if we understand that they put flame arresters just everywhere. It's such a common known thing. It's like, why wouldn't you leave the safety guard on there?
Right. So I'm curious. Obviously, this device was on these products. At
I
some
just have to
point.
explain my drink of choice, because you
Is-
know what, my girlfriend.
Right.
Have I taught you what's in my glass?
Agua.
Aguatini. This is a glass
Aguatini.
of water.
She needs
But
a
it
little.
looks so much funner.
Right. We're pretending. There you go.
It's not even pretending. That's real water.
It's real water. No, I know. It is real water. I'm saying we're pretending like it's not.
I just love the fact that, Jenny, you're such an independent researcher. You're helping me get down to the facts.
Okay.
The thing I learned by hanging out with you,
Yeah.
you always teach me to stay on the facts, track the facts, follow the facts.
Right.
I think as a natural investigator and a detective, you will always look to see where the facts take you.
Right.
You don't walk in and decide you've already got the solution. You
No.
walk in and you interrogate, you investigate.
Yes.
You use deductive and inductive reasoning.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
So that's maybe why you and I became friends. We
Yeah.
just kind of get that level.
Right.
And I think that you're here as a volunteer. You do this out of passion.
Yes.
I think you see me as a person with passion.
Yes.
I am, I'm just doing this because we've got to stop 4,000 people a year ending up with burns.
So I want to just to clarify for myself, and maybe
Yeah.
for the audience.
Please.
So at some point, these flame arresters were on these products, correct? And
Voluntarily, yes.
voluntarily on the products. And so, was there a law change or anything that happened that that caused them to be not necessary, not required?
You know what? Everybody thought it was common sense. Like, nobody would ever hand you a product that becomes a bomb. So they
Right.
were always in use over the years.
Okay.
They were never there was no law written, to my knowledge, that required them
Okay.
until OSHA required them and DOD required them. So back in the 70s and 80s is when all the real good research came out on all this.
Yeah.
But for some reason, CPSC was not requiring them. That doesn't make sense to
Okay.
me.
So tell me what CPSC for somebody who's
Sure.
not knowledgeable.
Consumer Product Safety Commission.
Okay.
It's not the Corporate Profit Safety Commission. I know there's people in government, that's what they refer to it as, because they
Right.
think that it's this place where it's all about corporate profits, and if people pay to play, then they get out of it.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to that. I actually think we've got good people that get hamstringed.
Yeah.
I think we have bureaucracy that creates problems.
Right.
But I come to Congress because this is going to take an act of Congress
Right.
to get consumers, families, moms,
Right.
the students. There's 300 or 400 kids a year get hurt in their high school science classes and science demonstrations. It's ridiculous.
Right.
We would rather put a teacher in jail, which happened in Denver. We'd rather
Yeah.
charge the father in Michigan and put him in jail. That dad didn't get to go to his own kid's funeral. We'd rather
Right.
do that than just say, let's tell everybody to put the flame arrestor back on.
Right.
to make sure I'm answering your question is, how did we get to this problem?
Right.
So some manufacturers did resubmit to the FTC, and when they resubmitted, they took it off.
Okay.
And what they did is they told FTC it doesn't change the function of the product.
Right.
I don't agree with that. I don't understand why nobody called that out.
Okay.
And I'm heartsick. I think that's where part of the problem is.
Right.
We should have said to them, when you took the safety guard off, you made this a hazard. This
Right.
is a hazard. This is unnecessary, unreasonable risk.
It probably should have been labeled hazardous, right?
Yeah, may blow up and may explode.
Right.
Why wouldn't we say, keep away from anything, like, for instance, firefighters,
Right.
first responders, they're on the fire line.
Yeah.
These guys are getting burned when they go to refuel their own chainsaw.
Oh, wow.
They're doing everything right. They're doing nothing wrong.
Right.
The science teacher is trying to run an experiment. Nobody's giving them the awareness
Right.
of this flashback injury that's so easy to prevent.
Right.
It's like, to me, I feel like I'm insulting people trying to say, guys, there's no logical reason for this.
Yeah.
It costs a few pennies.
Okay.
It works every time. It's efficient. It's effective. It's not. There's no downside.
Right.
Why can't we get this done? Here I've been doing this, and I don't think I'm that smart. And I think if you looked at my track record, we could agree. I don't do a lot right because I only have like 40 sponsors in over a year. That's not good.
Yeah.
This is such an easy one. There's a force against it. Somebody invisibly is preventing common sense.
Well, is there any reason that anything you could think of why they would be resisting? Is it just simply the stagnation in Congress? Is it?
I don't get that. See, maybe because I'm too much of a typical consumer, general public kind of a person. I think, like, guys, let's be logical. We're smart women, just you and I, but the whole population of smart people that look at this. Why can't we fix this problem without having to come to this government and say, government, you need to fix this.
Right.
Nobody is willing to put the safety guard back on.
Yeah.
And there's a troubling spot. I can tell you my confusion is we've got three things that overlap.
Yeah.
We've got the code committee, that's the ASTM. It's American Science Technology Manufacturers. It's voluntary code committee. That ASTM committee has been working or pretending to work on this for 11 years. So I need Congress to say 11 years, you guys are just not getting it done.
Right. Right.
Then I've got to say the second part of this is we got the manufacturers.
Right.
Guys, maybe you didn't know, maybe you lost the intelligence, maybe you had bad engineers. You need to fix this problem, but you're not against it. The manufacturers have given me a letter that says they'll support it.
Okay.
The third part is we've got a manufacturing lobbying group, the Manufacturers Association.
Okay.
So that is the part that confuses me, that portable fuel container manufacturers, they're not against it, but they put out data on their website that makes no sense to me.
Okay.
They've literally put on their website that says that there's none commercially available. How can you say that when they've been around for 200 years? Show me what you mean. Give me some proof of not commercially available.
Okay.
I've demonstrated, shown that they're everywhere.
Right.
They say that they're not sure that they're effective. Yet you agree there's never been a case where it failed.
Right.
So if you've never documented a single failure anywhere amongst any government agency, why would you put that on your website? If you're trying to convince congressmen to not support something, then you're getting them to believe you based on what credibility?
Right. Yeah. And
So
what's the underlying
I kind of
motivation
just want to
here?
point this out. I've got this one person who chairs that ASTM committee. The chair of that committee, his name is Phil Monkton, Monkton.
Okay.
Phil, please come out and give us an explanation. Give us your wording. Why your company took him off in 2002?
Right.
And why, as the chair of the committee, for 11 years you've been pretending you were going to fix the problem?
Right.
And then thirdly, I'm now shown and can validate and verify by doing this type of independent research that you're also the president of the Manufacturers Association. So how do you sleep at night knowing that you're controlling this from three directions? Those three circles, the only place where they all overlap is you.
Is you.
So you, my friend, need to do some explaining.
Right.
Why can't I get a legislative hearing? Why can't I get people to call this out and to say 4,000 of these burn injuries a year?
Right. So we're,
Do the math with
right.
me.
Just 11 years.
11 years.
4,000. So
That's 44,000 injured.
Right.
That's so
Horrifically injured. Yes.
Not all of them. Some of them may only be first and second degree.
Okay.
Maybe they don't think a third degree is that bad. I think it's screaming bad awful because I've spent months in a burn unit.
Right.
I just want to say, going and looking at this, there's also 450 validated, verified deaths annually. And let me kind of explain that stat.
Yeah.
That's NFPA's stats. That's National Fire Protection Agency.
Okay.
They did 3 years of data. They looked at the cumulative average over 3 years and said about 4,000 injuries and about 450 deaths.
Wow.
So I want you to know that's a very conservative number. That's not even accurate.
Right.
Because according to NIST, National Electronic Information Surveillance System, NIST is the CPSC data service.
Okay.
According to NIST, there was 18,000 gasoline-only injuries last year. So if I had 18,000 of just gas, there's 500 other types of products that are flammable, combustible products.
So, yeah.
I'm only claiming 4,000 of these.
Right, so if we can imagine what that really is.
Right. So, like the high schools, why is it we're not catching any of these injuries? Well, OSHA says students aren't employees, so they don't have to report them. Unless you have 3 employees, you have to report it. So that would be the teacher, the teacher's assistant, the janitor comes in to help the burn.
Yeah.
Now you have to report it. But unless you have 3 employees, you don't have to acknowledge it. Moms and dads, if you think your kid can go to school and just be taught science, you're missing out on all of these experiments that are turning into severe burn injuries.
Right.
If we would teach the teachers to put the flame arrestor on, then the teacher can teach and they don't have to run the risk of ending up with criminal charges.
Right.
Like, this is the reason I won't give up.
Right.
I don't get it.
Right.
I am frustrated. I am feeling like if only I was smarter, if only I could work harder, if only I could figure this out, if only somebody could teach me, help me. I mean, I have really awesome mentors that are helping me. There are PhDs, there's JDs, there's MDs. I mean, you name it. We've got detectives. Why is it, even if I've got people from the International Association of Firefighters, you know, one of the big supporters of my bill is the American Burn Association. The other one is the National Association of State Fire Marshals.
Okay.
They're out of Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Okay.
You'd think I could get to the Wyoming Congresswoman and she'd be supporting this.
That would be Ms. Cheney, correct?
It is, and I think highly of her. I really want to see her
Come on
support
board.
this one. I think she wants to.
What's the actual number of your bill? It's
HR 919.
HR 919.
It's called the Portable Fuel Container Safety Act.
Okay.
It's really about flame arresters and saying to CPSC, protect consumers.
Right.
You're burning us. In the last 11 years, do the math, 4,400 people, or excuse me, 44,000 people were burned.
Right.
That's crazy. But 4,400 people would have been burned to death.
Right.
Those are deaths.
Right.
These are horrific.
Yeah.
Like, you don't understand how cruel burns are.
Right.
They're just gruesome, and what you deal with, and late effects, and the ongoing issues with nerves and pain. I mean, guys, put the flame arrestor on there, and it 100%. The only way to prevent this is to protect against it.
Right. So when listening to your story, I'd say obviously we need legislation to be implemented to force this. And in the meantime, while you're on this journey, in this fight, what would you offer as advice to teachers or mothers or anybody?
Oh my gosh, Jenny, that is the greatest question.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking that. And I just love calling you that because I'm the one that made up that name for you. But as far as it goes, I want to say to all people, number one, for looking around your garage right now, replace your gas cans. Go online, look at No Spill gas cans. NOSPILL. No Spill, you can get them on Amazon. You can get them at all different stores. Start asking for them. No Spill have a flame arrestor in there. It's no big deal. Second thing I would say is make sure that we're giving teachers a heads up on awareness. I have Bunsen burners where you have a flame arrestor on there. I have things where you can keep the vapors from igniting the liquids. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're putting those flame arrestors on all the products and showing the teachers how to do that. Teachers do not want this risk. Teachers want to teach.
Not.
So if we could get parents to think about it, grandparents, loved ones, replace things. When you open up your lighter fluid, if you look at the opening of it, if it's got one hole, that's how they were when I was a kid, it was one hole in the center of it. That hole was so big when you squeezed and released, it would suck the ignition source inside and then turn it into a flame-throwing bomb. Now it's 3 tiny holes. If you see 3 tiny holes, that's safe. If you see anything like a flame arrestor, ask about it, double check, verify it's a flame arrestor. If it's a flame arrestor, it's protecting you, it's there to keep you safe, don't remove it. Do not mess with that. And, I really just want people to think about, like, give each other a heads up. You're at a barbecue this summer. If you're going to be near stuff, don't let people throw ignition flammable liquids onto open flames, because we don't always respect how big the vapor cloud will be,
right,
and the blowback. Okay. And there's a lot of bad injuries that happen, and these guys are. These are no kidding around horrific. Right. This is like, it's as if you've been to, all right, my opinion as a person who's lived it and done it, the reason I want to prevent anybody else from going through it, a burn unit is kind of worse than a prisoner of war POW camp.
Yes.
Because the things they have to do to keep you alive,
yes.
I don't even want to discuss. I just don't like people to understand it.
Yeah.
But I don't want you to go through it.
Right.
And that's why, Jenny, I'm glad you're asking me this stuff. This is why I come to you, because you're always willing to refine me. Yes. And you teach me how to refine it down.
Yeah, well, I think, when I look at this situation, I say, yes, Congress needs to take action, right? Pass this bill and make it mandatory. And at the same time, how can we educate as many people as possible in the meantime to be preventative, right? So every principal or teacher that watches this, or mother or father, if they make their contribution, both to make sure that these things are on at their schools or at their homes, but also to call into Congress and say, this is a very simple HR 919, a very simple bill that prevents children and adults and all kinds of people from being horrifically
Can we
burned.
Tweet that out? Like, tweet out pass HR 919.
Yeah, we will tweet that out.
Pass our. Here's what I'd love: pass HR 919.
Yeah.
Stop burning us.
Yeah, we should get it trending.
Yeah.
So trending on Twitter. So
pass HR 919. Flame arresters save lives.
Yeah, and I think when people think about Washington D.C., sometimes they think there's people only here that are just lobbyists, wanting big money and stuff. But so many people are here that are, representatives of people like you, Margaret, that just care about your children or other people's children, are coming here to Congress saying, please, this is the simplest step. We're not asking for $1 billion. These are, pennies for something that can save lives and save horrific injuries. And
they're smaller than a quarter. They cost less than a nickel. They work every time.
Right.
I would ask this: if maybe we could also pull together and just, what if we all started saying, please, Mr. President, make gas cans safe again.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
require flame arresters. Right. Make gas cans safe again.
Right. If President Trump knew about this, I'm sure.
Could we get this message? How do we do that, Jenny? I can sit here and feel like I'm 100 miles away from it. I feel like I'm cross country.
Yeah.
And I'm 100 yards from Congress?
Yeah. It's really hard, but I think, putting messages out like this and putting it on Facebook and getting awareness is the way, right? And so
let's try
somehow let's
Please
get that
help
message.
Help us.
President Trump and Congress. HR 919 needs to be passed.
Yeah.
And we need to listen to this story, and we need to protect our children and the families here in the United States that are suffering from this.
And if you want to reach us, you can always just Google us at notyourturntoburn.com. Maybe I'm going to get the domain name Stop Burning Us. I've been working on that one. So, help us get in touch with you. Reach out. I've got a sample letter you can get to your congressman. You can see about the bill. You can read about the bill. You can find out the videos. ATF has done all these great videos for me.
Okay.
I mean, I've worked with every government agency I can get my hands on.
Right.
And I'm grateful. I just want to say thank you to those government agencies and the really good people that want public safety to be the higher priority.
Right.
And let's just remove this ridiculous risk.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
pass HR 919.
Pass HR 919. POTUS, you need to get on it. Get on with Congress.
We need your help.
We need your help.
Please, Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. President, please. So thank you very much, Margaret, for your interview.